Hello friends and potential friends. It's December 1st, 2019 here in Central Florida. It's almost noon and it looks like we're getting close to 80 degrees today. It's been a few weeks since I did a garden walk around, so I figured I'd come out and show what's going on out here. Things are actually a little bit slow right now, which is why I've dragged my feet about doing another video. Because we seem to have gone directly from summer to winter. We were in the 90s, and then a day or so later, 2 days later, we were having highs in the low 70s, sometimes upper 60s. Now we're kind of moderating again. Nice breeze today, about 2, 3, 4 miles an hour. Pretty skies, nice and sunny. So let's just do a little bit of a walk around. Starting out on the patio, we got the pineapple plantation with a big shadow across it. Let's see if I can get out of the way of the shadow. Pineapples are still doing okay in the pots. Got a blueberry over here that's still growing. Didn't get any berries off of it this year. Back in the back, we still have some of the 7-year-old basil growing. This is outside and all going to seed. I've got a little bit inside as well. Next to that, I've got one of my fig trees. It's still in a pot. It dropped all its leaves when it turned cold. Well, cold for Florida. And then it started growing leaves again. Got one of my papayas over here. Haven't figured out where to put that one yet. And up here we have the horseradish still growing. Got my elderberry that's still going pretty good. Well, still alive, let's put it that way. One of my loquats that I haven't put in the ground yet. And this guy here is some kind of pepper. I think it was a jalapeno, still growing, so I keep it here. Gardenia bush is growing pretty good. The turmeric has started yellowing a little bit as the temperatures have been dropping, but it's really still growing pretty good. The turmeric that's over in the garden bed never did much of anything. As you can see, I need to do some weeding in here too before I put anything else in here. Got a little bit of rosemary still going back here in the back. Well, misspoke there. That guy there's the ginger. There's the rosemary. Got several pots of it down here. These are all from cuttings from the, well, I've been growing cuttings from cuttings for a few years now. Lemongrass still needs to go in the ground somewhere, if I can ever figure out where to put it. Over on this side, I've got a little bit more ginger. This is some that I saved from the compost pile. And then that sugar cane that I never got around to doing anything with. Still growing pretty good out here. Let's walk around here. Oh, before we go any farther, my mulberry, I really need to put that in the ground somewhere. It's still growing pretty good, but I need to figure out where I'm going to put that for its permanent home. Yeah, my pepper bed, these poor things don't know what to do. These are my 2 datil peppers. And if you look real close, you can see they've got peppers hanging all over them. And they're still blooming. And it looks like there's still bees buzzing around them. The other plant, same thing. Has probably half a dozen peppers on it. I don't see any blooms on that one this morning, but oh, yeah, there's one. But that one's been blooming also. Squash, sadly, never produced anything. It eventually just kind of turned brown and hard. It's still mixed up in there, but I need to clean that out. Get this bed ready to do something else with. Now over on the main beds, let's see how I can do this. I think in the last update I was talking about the worms that were eating up my tomatoes. And as you can see, these are the Amish paste tomatoes. The worms did eat up all the leaves. Some of them are still struggling to come back, but the rest are trying to come back. Haven't seen any blossoms on these ones yet, but I keep hoping. And as soon as I saw the damage that was done by the worms, I planted a few more seeds. I didn't have any more of the Amish paste, so I planted Romas. And now I've got a bunch of little Romas. I think there's 8 or 10 of them in here. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I've got a dozen Romas starting to grow in here good. Next bed over where I tried to put all my greens. I'm trying to stay out of the sunlight so I don't cast a shadow for you. But starting at this end of the bed, I have my red Russian kale. Notice the garlic's doing good too, by the way. Next to that I have the, what's this one? The blue Scotch kale. And then we have some, I can't even read those things. I think this one was one form of Swiss chard, which only got 1 or 2 sprouts from. Another Swiss chard that only got 1 or 2 sprouts from. And then I think this was a rainbow Swiss chard in here. That may be the only one that came up. Well, there's a couple of little ones there, but they're not doing much of anything. And then this is one more kind of Swiss chard. Ruby red, I believe. There's one there, and I see a couple more along the row. That's about it. But then we get into a little bit of lettuce. Got 2 rows of lettuce here that are still growing. I'm not sure whether it's too hot for them or too cold. But then again, this bed is just now getting into the direct sunlight too. So I think I had turnips that I planted in here. They must have been old seeds because not much of anything has come up. And of course, one of my volunteer sweet potatoes. And then the part that really surprised me, here at the end I planted 3 rows of slow bolt cilantro, and it's growing pretty good for down here. I don't normally get cilantro in Florida. I'm hoping that this one will give me a little bit that I can use before it starts going to seed. Now out here we've got, this was the delicious beefsteak tomatoes. These have come back from the worm damage a lot better than the Amish paste did. Got plenty of leaves on them, but so far I'm not seeing any more blossoms. But they are still alive and growing, so more sweet potatoes mixed in down near the bottom of them. And I did put 2 more of the delicious beefsteaks in the ground that I had in the lab. Another sweet potato. Then we get into the mustard greens. They're still growing. They're not growing real fast, but they are still growing. I did put out a few more collards, so I think I've got 8 plantings of collards here, 2 or 3 plants in each one. And they are slowly growing, so hopefully we'll get some collards out of those. These are the collards that I got from Chris and Darlene at Homesteading the Hard Way. Now let me pause this and we'll walk out and take a look at something else. Okay, here's my ponderosa lemon tree. Still has 2 fruits on it. And one of them is starting to ripen, getting to be fairly good size. That's a ponderosa lemon the size of a small grapefruit. It's almost ripe. Beautyberry bush has lost most of its berries, it looks like. There are some others that still have berries on them. There's the loquat that I put in the ground. It is slowly growing. Hopefully it'll get enough sunlight here to do well. Now let's walk on along. Okay, there's my other fig tree. Still growing. That one's been through a lot. Had an oak tree dropped on it a couple years ago. Sugar cane is still going. It's probably time to be cutting that all back and replanting it somewhere. And then the moringa tree is back here in the back corner. Does not get enough light back here. I'm going to have to find another place for it, I believe. And this is Florida. We still have hibiscus blooming. There's a few more beauty berries back there in the corner. And over here in the junk heap, we still have a few more beauty berries. These ones are starting to look a little bit worse for wear, but they're still here. And let's walk down here to my favorite spot, the compost pile. Don't you just love looking at trash? Actually, I come out and look at this every morning because I get a lot of plants out of here. Right now we have sweet potatoes. Those are from the vines that I dug up and threw out here a couple months ago. We have a little bit of sugar cane coming up over here. And over next to it, the bottom end of an onion that I cut up a couple weeks ago. It's decided to grow big time. What else do we have out here? Let's see, there's another loquat, just in case I need one. And if I'm not mistaken, over here I believe I've got some poison ivy. I haven't found that in here before, but it's always fun seeing what pops up out here in the compost pile. Oh, almost forgot. I got a potato growing too. We'll see what that does. I think that's about it for update of the garden. Everything else is green as usual here in Central Florida. Nice day, no white stuff, and I hope my friends up north have enjoyed this because I know y'all have a lot of white stuff up there already. I believe those storms that are skirting across the northern part of the U.S. have been pulling some of the cooler temperatures away from us here, pulling in some more warm air off the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean. So we're getting back to our somewhat normal Florida fall. 80 degrees today, I think. Nice and sunny. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. And almost forgot, over here on the east side of the house, not getting a lot of sunlight over here yet, but they had some this morning. These are the 5 papayas that I put in the ground. They're slowly growing. Again, they don't get as much sunlight as they'd really like over here, but it's the only place I could find to put them, so I stuck them in here, and hopefully they'll produce something. Beauty, if nothing else. See you on the next one, guys.